Good morning. I'd like to thank you all for coming out this morning. I see we have temperatures of winter to this morning anyway, not a lot of snow. So good morning, I'm Tom Jenin, the Director of District 7, and I'm thankful for serving as a Board of Director for the past 12 years. I can't hardly believe it's been 12 years, but then I looked in the mirror this morning, I go, yeah, about right, I guess. So I would like to welcome those of you that are here in person and those joining us virtually for your district meeting. Because of COVID, the last in-person District 7 meeting took place 6 years ago in 2018. It means a lot to me as a director to be with you guys in person again, and the gatherings like this drive home the point that Lake Region is different from other utilities. We're different because we put our members first and at the center of everything. And you're the foundation of our co-op, you're the heart of these local meetings. We continue to enter exciting times for your directors, continue to work hard to make sure your cooperative continues to serve you in the manner that you deserve. We have had rate stability for several years, and seeing only 2 general service rate changes in the past 12 years, one of which took place last September, as you remember. Your Board of Directors approved the 2013 general service rate changes that went into effect in September, and these changes were necessary to maintain the financial strength of your cooperative. Our cooperative, just like our families, friends, and neighbors, has been dealing with inflation over the past couple years in ways that we haven't seen for some time. We have seen material costs double in the past couple years. Inflation and other events out of our control, unfortunately, can impact our members in ways none of us want to see. But your directors and the Lake Region team continue to push forward with purpose to serve you in the best manner we can. Lake Region wouldn't be in business if not for all of you, our member owners. You are the reason for our existence and you share our success. We have made it a priority to continue to look for ways to transform your member experience with Lake Region. I would like to thank you members, fellow directors, and employees for staying engaged and working together to continue to move forward the great cooperative started by so many of you hardworking people in 1937. I'm excited to announce that we are once again holding 3 in-person annual meetings this year. One is going to be at Life Church in Fergus Falls, one at the Frazee Center, and one in Park Prairie Event Center in Parkers Prairie. The annual meeting will take place April 18th at 6:30. And as in past years, members will also be able to live stream the annual meeting. If you are joining us virtually, please use the chat feature at any time during this meeting if you have questions. We will be responding to questions for those of you that are here in person or live stream at the end of Tim's CEO report. If we do not get to your question today, please be assured that an employee from Lake Region will follow up with you in the coming days. We need a meeting chair for the district meeting to preside over the nomination process. I would propose that our attorney, Chad Festool, be the meeting chair for the district meeting. Does anybody else want any other nominees to act as the chair of that meeting? I didn't think so. There you go, Chad, you're in. Okay, so if a vote is needed for candidates for the Board of Directors, voting will occur in person by paper ballot. The voting process will only be needed if there are more than 2 nominees, for candidates for the director position. If there's only 1 candidate nominated, no voting is required, and he or she will be placed on the ballot and elected by acclamation unless there is a petition candidate, and then both of them will be at the meeting in April. I'm glad you could join to learn more about Lake Region Cooperative and participate in local democracy by participating in the nomination process. Before we begin the nomination process, I want to introduce the rest of our Board of Directors. Their picture and district are listed on the screen. Kurt Kruger from the ROTC area, District 1. Cecil Bud Hensel from the Frazee area, District 3. Mike Brazel from Perham area in District 3. Earl Rydell from the Dent area in District 4. Patrick Myers from the Cormorant area, District 5. Charlie Blix from the Pelican Rapids area, District 6. And I'm Tom Jenin from Fergus Falls area, District 7. Jim Gronbeck from the Battle Lake area, District 8. And Gary Olson from the Parkers Prairie, District 9. All right, our meeting continues now with nominations. Our meeting chair will guide us through the process. Chad, will you please come forward?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two ways that an individual can be nominated to be a candidate for the Board of Directors at our April meeting. The first way is why you are all here today. That is through the district nomination process for you to make nominations to be a candidate for the board in April. The second way, if someone is not nominated this morning, is through a petition process. Our bylaws allow an individual to appear on the ballot at the April meeting through a petition process that requires an individual to get 50 signatures from members in this district and submit those to the co-op. There are other requirements for the petition process that are found in our bylaws in Article 4, Section 4.4b. So if you have any questions on those, find me afterwards, or you can take a look at our bylaws. As chairman for this district meeting, we may need tellers in the event that a vote is required if there are more than 2 candidates nominated for a position on the board of directors. I have appointed Mr. Pekarski and Mr. Besky to act as tellers for this district meeting if voting is required. The tellers will physically count the ballots cast by those of you who are here in person and certify to the members the results of the election. Since there are more than 10 members of District 7 present, I declare that we have a quorum for this district meeting. When making a nomination, I would ask that you speak clearly, identify yourself by stating and spelling your name, as well as stating and spelling the name of the individual who you are nominating for the director position. Are there any questions about the director qualifications or the nomination process? If not, we will open the nomination process. Again, please state and spell your name for the record. According to our bylaws, the nomination process has to be open for 2 minutes. 2 minutes does not seem like a very long time, but I can guarantee you that it will seem like an eternity with me standing up here staring at you. So there will be a time clock on the screen that will indicate when nominations close. Are there any nominations for the director position? Yes, sir.
I, Peter Fiesta, P-E-R-F-J-E-S-T-A-D, nominate Tom Jenin for director for District 7. Hopefully we got his spelling.
We've got his spelling. Thank you, sir. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And just a couple of years ago, we could have been here for another minute until we amended our bylaws. So thankfully, we amended our bylaws to only do 2 minutes. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? If there are no other nominations, is there a motion that the nominations for the director be closed? I would ask.
I'll second it, whoever.
Who made the first one? Can you state your name, please? Jerry Warner. Thank you, Jerry. Mr. Fiesta, you're seconding. It's been moved and seconded that nominations for director be closed. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Tom, would you please stand? To the best of your knowledge, do you meet the qualification for director? If so, please answer yes. Yes. Would you like? I hope so too. Would you like to speak to the group? Okay.
Well, thank you for the nomination, and it's been quite an experience being on the board. I know when I was young, we had Lake Region out many times on the farm, updating services and that sort of thing, and I thought it was a stand-up organization at that time, and they had really good employees and everything, and I could have never dreamt that I'd be here today doing this. So thank you, and it's a really stellar bunch to work with, the board, the staff, everybody involved. It's just been a pleasure and an educational experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Since only one candidate is nominated, we don't have to have a vote today. And if there is only one candidate for the ballot for the April meeting, Tom will be elected by acclamation. If there is an individual that goes through the petition process after the district meeting, that individual will be placed on the ballot, and there will be an election at the April meeting. Now I would like to invite Lake Region CEO Tim Thompson to give his remarks. Tim?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here this morning to participate in your district meeting. These district meetings are such a special part of our electric cooperative. It's a great opportunity for members to come together at the grassroots level to nominate members for the board of directors. It's also a great opportunity for members to visit with your board of directors and the Lake Region employees who are here today. Having a room full of Lake Region members, directors, and employees is another great example of member engagement at our cooperative. At Lake Region, we want to have a high level of member engagement. We believe that member engagement really builds a stronger cooperative for our future, and that's why we continue to create opportunities to increase our member engagement. On the middle of this slide, outline of our electric service territory, each one of those colorful little dots represents a location across our service territory where we've had some form of member engagement, whether that's in person or virtual. The in-person engagement opportunities include things like our Coffee with the Co-op program, where we'll set up a time to invite members into a cafe in their neck of the woods, have a cup of coffee and donut, and just talk about things that are going on at Lake Region. Similar with our Apps and Chats, where we'll invite members into a restaurant, provide appetizers, and just visit about things going on in the industry and at Lake Region. We also have virtual opportunities. One is our Virtual Member Advisory Committee, or VMAC. That's done electronically through a Facebook platform where members can participate in an advisory committee. It's an opportunity for us to ask questions, get feedback on different types of issues going on. We've also have our new Energy Corner, where members can participate, and we just provide really good information on a variety of energy topics that are going on in the industry. We want to be your local trusted source of information on energy issues. Tom mentioned our annual meeting. Another great opportunity for member engagement, perhaps our best. We now have 3 locations where members can attend in person. Of course, the primary location is here in Fergus Falls, and we can live stream the event into the Frazee Community Center as well as the Parker's Prairie Event Center. With these 3 locations, 98% of our members live within 25 miles of one of these locations, trying to make it easier for people to attend in person. And of course, we have the virtual option as well, where people can just join us virtually. With this new model, the last couple of years, we've had 1,200 people participating in our annual meeting, much greater than in the past. We've also added an energy forum. We're going to have another one this year. This is really an opportunity for members who want to take a deeper dive on energy issues. We'll bring in experts from the industry. They'll have presentations. Our members can engage with them, ask questions. Following those general sessions, we're going to plan to have some breakout sessions on a variety of energy topics like electric vehicles, battery storage for residential customers, our generator standby program, as well as solar, our solar program, Go West Solar. That's going to be on May 30th. We're in the planning stage right now. It's going to be at Thumper Pond. If you have an interest in that, we'd love to have you there. We're also going to do another member appreciation event this year. It's going to be at beautiful Maplewood State Park on August 8th. We're going to have free food for members. There will be no charge to get into the park that day. Please come out and have some fun with us and enjoy Mother Nature. We're also going to have our linemen there to do an electrical safety demonstration, which is really interesting. Really encourage you to bring your family, kids, grandkids. It's so important that we educate the youth on the dangers of safety. We're going to have our electric bikes there, as well as our electric vehicles, if you have an interest in taking any of those for a spin. Well, your cooperative, Lake Region Electric, continues to grow. We now serve 29,780 consumers. This past year, we built 362 new electric services for our members. A lot of that growth is around the over 1,000 lakes in our very large 3,200 square mile service territory. We have 5,865 miles of power line. We've also formed a natural gas company. It continues to grow as well. We now serve almost 1,200 customers in our natural gas company. We built 42 new gas services this past year. And we have 67 wonderful, dedicated employees to serve you and to keep our cooperative running smoothly. When you came in this morning, if you noticed those pictures scrolling, we have 7 linemen right now in North Dakota helping restore power out there to the west of us in this ice storm. They're coming home today. So continue to pray for their safety. Very pleased to share with you the 2023 results of our member satisfaction survey that we do every year. We're very pleased with the participation. We had 2,797 members participate in our member satisfaction survey this year. That's the most we've ever had participate. Good news is our satisfaction is on the rise. When we ask that question, overall, how satisfied are you with your cooperative? We scored a 9 out of 10. The most meaningful part of the survey, though, is your comments that we get back. We love that. They're very meaningful to us, and they're very motivating to us. We take them very seriously. Some of the comments are designed to talk about reliability as well as rates, and those are the 2 areas that I'd like to focus on today in my presentation. Let's first talk about reliability, and I want to start with the transmission system. We don't own the transmission system. Those are those larger structures, poles, and wires that bring the power down to the local level to interconnect with a Lake Region substation. We own the substation and deliver the power from the sub to your home, farm, or business. Well, back in 2018, we were experiencing too many transmission-related outages. If there's an issue on the transmission system, we're going to have issues at the local level as well. So we got together with our transmission services providers, held some meetings, and we put together a plan to improve the transmission reliability for our system. $22 million has been invested in the transmission system since 2019 to improve that transmission system. Just want to quickly point out these 5 areas of where the big projects were. Up in the top of the screen there, that Lake Eunice substation, that red dot, GRE built a new transmission line in to serve our Lake Eunice substation, and we built a new Lake Eunice substation to serve our members in that area, solidifying the transmission in that area. The next red dot there, the GRE Frazee transmission substation, that's a very large, Great River Energy-owned transmission substation that feeds several Lake Region distribution substations. GRE rebuilt that substation, put $10 million into that rebuild to strengthen the grid in that area. The next one there, the GRE Schuster Lake substation, the GRE owns, that's a brand new substation. There was not a transmission substation there before. This is an additional substation near Perham along Highway 10 there, really bringing a new source into our territory and really positioning us well for the future with growth. GRE also upgraded their Henning substation, which serves a couple of Lake Region subs. And then we've done some work at the 10 Mile Lake substation as well. So these green shaded areas, as a result of this plan, are now experiencing better reliability. 21,000 of our customers live in those green shaded areas, significant upgrades there for our membership. And now that we've got these projects completed, we can do the before and after comparison. Back in 2018, we were experiencing in these green areas 64 substation related outages per year. That's now down to 24 for a 63% reduction in transmission related outages. We continue to invest in our local grid from the substation to your meter. This is the nice downward trend of outage times over the years. If you go back to 2004, on average, Lake Region members were out of power 4.4 hours per year. With all the work that's been done, you can see that's trended downward very positively. In 2023, we ended up at 1.52 hours per member. That's a 65% decrease in outage times for our members. That's because we've done a lot of grid improvements. We continue to do a lot of tree clearing, and we've invested in new technology to help reduce outages as well. One of the newer programs we're doing is called our Distribution Grid Improvement Program, or DGIP. This is all about utilizing new technology, innovation, and enhanced employee engagement to prevent outages. It's a map of our service territory. With all of the data that we have on members' outages, we know where the worst performing circuits are. So we started here. We identified the top 10. We give that information and location to our linemen, asked them to go out and put their eyes on these 10 areas. We are now working those original 10 projects. The green ones have been completed. The one at the top there has not quite been fully completed yet, but there's 3,921 members in these areas that will now be experiencing better reliability, and we'll continue to do this as we go forward, looking at those areas that need some improvement to drive outages out of our system. Just a couple projects here in your district, in District 7. First one, the 10 Mile Lake substation there. We've recently installed motor operating switches to remotely isolate a faulted section of transmission line. And what that does, if there's an issue on the transmission line, this is going to help us get you back in service quicker. The other project here on the other side of 10 Mile Lake there, that's an overhead to underground project. We're currently in the process of taking 3,100 feet of overhead line out and replacing it with 2,600 feet of underground. These two projects together are about $90,000 in total, and that should improve the reliability for 657 Lake Region members. Really excited to talk about this new program. It's our Exactor technology. We're trying to be very proactive in using this type of technology. This is all about trying to find a piece of hardware on our system that's in a pre-fail state. It has a small problem. We want to fix it before it becomes a big problem and causes a power outage for our members. We're trying to prevent outages. How it works is, the picture on your left over there, that piece of equipment is part of the Exactor technology on the hood of that truck. That truck makes a pass along the power line, and it's sensing that power line and collecting data as it goes down the road. Make a couple passes, and when you're done, that Exactor technology will give us a location that says, you might want to go look at this pole, for example, and further investigate it to see if you have a problem there. So in this case, we go to that pole, if you can see it kind of behind the truck, and that lineman, kind of step 2 of the process, takes that handheld device and scans it over the insulators and things at the top of that pole. And if it has an issue, it'll make a certain sound, and then we can get out there and change that insulator out before it causes an outage for you. This picture is a great shot of our linemen fixing a problem that we found using Exactor technology. This too was a bad insulator. The beauty of this is, when we find these in a proactive way, our linemen can go out there during their normal workday, a nice day, part of our workday for that the plan for that day. And what they're doing here, they not only changing out the insulator, they decided to set a whole new pole. So they're taking, that's an energized power line. They're all, you can see, doing all the right things safety-wise with the protection. And they're doing this line hot. So by being proactive, we can get out there and change out this pole and insulator, and the members don't experience a power outage. It's truly a win-win. Less outages for the members, and our linemen can go out on a day like this and do the work instead of waiting till it fails. When will it fail? Maybe at night, maybe during an outage. Much safer situation, just a win-win. Better for the members, more safety for our linemen. Excuse me. Since 2020, we have now scanned 1,591 miles of our power lines with this exactor technology. We found 265 pieces of equipment that are in this pre-fail condition, and we've already gotten out there and corrected 219 of those. So preventing outages is what we're trying to do here. Another technology that we're very excited about is our vegetation management program, and the new technology we're now using is called AI Dash technology. Currently, 22% of our power outages are caused by trees. Your board of directors here in 2024 has recently increased our vegetation management budget all the way up to $2.3 million for this year. Wasn't long ago we were spending $1.2 to $1.5 million per year on trees. Now it's up to 2.3 to try to further drive out these outages for our members. How this new technology, AI Dash, works is satellite imagery of our system is captured from multiple angles. The technology then monitors the clearances between the power lines and the trees, creating a comprehensive tree trimming and tree removal program for us. Just a snapshot of it there in the middle of the screen. Those color-coded lines are our power lines, and you can see it color codes them for us based on clearances. Gives us an idea where we need to go in 2024, which are the red areas. The yellowish areas are the 2025 plan, and the green areas are the 2026 plan. A wonderful new tool we have to help manage our right-of-ways and our vegetation management program. And ultimately, our goal is to best serve our members with a best-in-class vegetation management program. Just a few slides here for tree trimming in District 7. Here's where we've been trimming the last few years since 2020. I hope you can see this okay. The green areas is what we did in 2020. That's Orwell Circuit 1 and Orwell Circuit 2. In 2021, the blue areas there, the 10-mile lake area, Circuit 1. And then the red areas is what we did in 2022. Here's where we're going next based on our new analysis. In 2025, we're going to be doing the blue area there, Elizabeth Circuit 4. In 2026, the green, Elizabeth Circuit 2. And then the yellow is in 2027, Elizabeth Circuit 1 and 10-Mile Lake Circuit 2. When we talk about reliability today, we also need to talk about the reliability of the power supply, where the electricity comes from. Here's a picture of 4 natural gas-fired power plants from Great River Energy. What is happening in the industry is the demand for electricity is continuing to go up. We're using more and more electricity in our country, but the power supply, where the electricity comes from, is changing. We're transitioning from traditional coal-fired power plants to more renewables, wind, solar, battery storage, and certainly natural gas-fired power plants. We just need to make sure that as that demand continues to increase, we have enough supply. What the forecasts are right now for this winter, it's looking pretty good, honestly. The MISO system that we're part of, which is a large part of the central part of the U.S., the projected demand for electricity at the peak this winter is about 102 what's called gigawatts, and the supply is estimated to be a bit higher than that at the 120 gigawatt range. So we still have a good buffer, but it's something that needs to be managed as we go forward in our country with this energy transition that we're going through. The good news for Lake Region is these 4 power plants that are owned by Great River Energy, our power supply company, these natural gas peaking power plants don't run that often. They only run at peak times. For example, those hot summer days, cold winter days, they just run when we need them. The Pleasant Valley, the Elk River, and the Lakefield Junction plants, they're what we call dual fuel plants. They primarily run on natural gas, but they've also got on-site fuel oil supply for backup. So they're dual fuel. So if there's any issues with the natural gas supply, they can switch over to the second fuel and keep running. It's just a good redundancy type feature. Good news here is they've also taken steps recently. They just got approval from the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission to add the dual fuel capability to Cambridge. It's going to take a year or two to get that project done, but just another example of things Great River Energy is doing to have that redundancy and reliability that we count on. Let's transition a little bit and talk about our rate strategy. Tom talked a little bit about this, but our rate strategy at Lake Region is absolutely to keep rates as low as possible for our members, especially during these times of inflation. And we do that by engaging with members to control cost and create new revenue streams to keep those rates down the best we can. The strategy has served us well. In recent years, we've only had the 2 rate changes in the last 12 years. Here's how we stack up with other electric cooperatives across the state. Each one of these bars represents one electric cooperative. Start down on the left-hand side of Co-op A, all the way up to Co-op L. We benchmark our cost of electricity at Lake Region to theirs. The lowest cost co-op is Co-op A. That's how much their members pay for 1,000 kilowatt hours of power for the month. Co-op L is the highest. That's what that co-op's members pays for 1,000 kilowatt hours for the month. In the past, Lake Region was kind of up in this range, and now we're the second lowest in our peer group. There's a lot of reasons for that. Here are a few of them. One is the hard work and the technology and innovation that we are implementing. Our productivity has increased by 73% since 2005. If we go back to that 2005 timeframe, clear over here, at Lake Region, for every one employee, we could serve 260 consumers. With that hard work, technology, innovation, one employee at Lake Region now serves 450 customers. You can see that positive trend line. This line running across the top there, that represents all the electric cooperatives, 28 of them in our power supply group. That's with the Great River Energy family. So you can see back in the day we were below that average. Today we're significantly higher, compliments to everybody in the organization for finding better ways to serve and more efficient ways to serve. Boy, that has increased productivity has a big impact on our cost structure. Here's just one example, our administrative and general costs at Lake Region. If we go back to 2006, the administrative and general costs at Lake Region was $3.1 million. Today, at the end of 2023, that is $2.7 million, almost $500,000 a year less. And if you calculate that per customer, it's gone from $125 per customer down to $90 per customer. This slide is maybe the best example of what an electric cooperative is all about. Working with members, member engagement, member participation. Really a big deal for Lake Region. I am so proud of the fact that we have 12,462 members. That's over half of our members that participate in at least one of our load control programs. We have over 14,000 total controllable loads on our system. What this means to us from a cost standpoint and from a financial standpoint is, this is a snapshot of the peak billing day, as we call it, last February. If you go to that blue line up there, as we go through the day from left to right here, that blue line represents the total amount of electricity that all of us Lake Region members are using at that time. So we know this is a peak billing control day and potentially a peak billing day. So because we're all working together and all these controllable loads, when we get over to the point where there's going to be a potential peak, what we can do is control those loads. So instead of staying up on that blue line, Lake Region's load comes down here as we're controlling those loads. At this point in time, that day was the peak, and that's what we're billed off of. So instead of continuing on that blue line across the top and paying for 90,000 kilowatts, it drops down here into that 62, 63,000 range. And the difference between the high line and the low line there saved us $436,000 that month. That's another way we can keep our rates low, and we can develop all these off-peak programs that are lower cost for our members. So thank you, for participating in those programs. The other big part of our strategy is to create new revenue streams. And I like to say every dollar we can create from a new revenue stream is one less dollar that the board of directors has to put into your electric rate. And so we've tried to create these new revenue streams. Our standby generator program has been very successful. We now install and maintain standby generators. We have over 500 of those out there now across our system. You may recall we're an owner now of Carr's Tree Service. As I mentioned earlier, when you spend $2.3 million a year for tree clearing, it's nice to be an owner of a high-quality tree service company like Carr's Tree Service to help to do that work for us. Because we are an owner, when they have financial success, we share in that. That's new revenue coming into Lake Region. Our natural gas company, also a new revenue stream for Lake Region. And the really beautiful thing about that is we can take fixed costs off of the electric cooperative, allocate those into the natural gas company, and collect those costs through the rates of the natural gas, the 1,200 natural gas customers. Just another way to keep our costs lower on the electric side. And then through innovation and technology, our wind-solar hybrid project, we're producing wind and solar energy at the local level. Really incredible project. A lot of engineering goes into these types of things, but that plugs right into the distribution system that you already own, and it's a low cost of local renewable energy, helps us save on our power bill. Well, these four things together last year in 2023, that created approximately $1 million of positive rate benefits for Lake Region members. You ever stop and think about how many times a day we use electricity? It's pretty incredible, isn't it? Just a few examples to demonstrate the value of electricity and how much convenience and how much comfort that brings to our daily lives. For about a penny, you can fully charge your phone 18 times. And think how many times you'll use that phone and what that enables you to do. Also, for about a penny, when you get up in the morning, you can brew a cup of coffee, get you going for the day. And also for about a penny, you can power a high-efficient light bulb for about 11 hours to do some reading at your home. Tremendous value for electricity. Well, how did your cooperative do in 2023 financially? We don't have the books closed yet for 2023, so I want to emphasize as estimates at this point in time, but a total bottom line of $3.3 million for the year, a solid year for Lake Region Electric. A couple headliners for 2023 financially. One is our wholesale cost of power from Great River Energy in January went up about 6%. And we absorbed that additional cost until the new retail rates that we are now paying went into effect in September. So we absorbed that extra cost, had a bit of a drain on our margins. And then, of course, the second big thing is just general inflation that we're all still dealing with. Materials is the greatest example probably. In the last 3 years or so, cost of a transformer has basically doubled, so we're still feeling the impact of the inflation. I wish we could say it's going down, but it's really not yet. Hopefully, the worst is past us, and we can get through this inflationary period. With a solid year, that increased the equity on the balance sheet. Again, estimated for the year end 2023. But look at this slide. We're going to probably finish the 23 around $69 million of equity. That's now tripled since 2005, a really strong balance sheet. And as we co-op people know, when you have a strong balance sheet, your board of directors every year makes that decision to give that capital credit and pay that money back to the member owners. So proud to say that in last year, $1.5 million was paid back to the membership. That comes in three pieces. The Lake Region piece is the lion's share. There's also a GRE component. And I wanted to mention this new one. It's fairly new. It's called CFC. That is a bank that we're part owner of. And that's where we borrow money to build poles and wires and infrastructure for you. So proud to say that CFC was formed by the American Electric Cooperatives and is 100% owned by American Electric Cooperatives. Lake Region and about 800 other co-ops around the nation own it. They function as a cooperative also. So when they have financial success at the bank, they allocate that back to us. And now that they're doing that, your board of directors is flowing that back to you. This marks 11 consecutive years. We've paid out over $1 million back to the membership. We've paid out just shy of $40 million since the first capital credit was done at Lake Region back in 1958. So wonderful, too, to work for an organization that is involved in the community. Just a few pictures of things we've done in the last year or so. We're involved with our schools. It's a picture of a couple linemen in a school teaching those young kids about the safety, to be safe around electricity. Look how dialed in those kids are watching those linemen. Isn't that great? We had a booth last summer at the East Ottertail County Fair, just an opportunity to connect with members as they come through the fair there. Wanted to mention our large American flag. We bought a few of these in recent years, and we'll use our big bucket trucks to fly those on 4th of July. We flew them last year at our annual meeting, those types of things. Well, now that we're doing that, what's really cool is other organizations like the Western Minnesota Steam Threshers Association and Rolog, last year they had a military veterans theme. And they asked us to come up and hang this flag and fly that flag with those bucket trucks. Just awesome. And then last year we also did a Minnesota Twins clinic. We partnered up with the Twins. They brought some really quality coaches up to coach up the kids and the parents. Just a very special day for those young kids. The other great way we're so involved is with our Operation Roundup program, and it's all about people helping people. Because of the generosity of Lake Region members who are willing to round up their power bill each month to that next dollar, that change each month goes into the Operation Roundup Fund. This group of people over here are volunteer Lake Region members who serve on the Operation Roundup Board of Directors, and they make the decision where those dollars are paid out to. As an example, last year, one of the big donations we made to the Humane Society of Ottertail County. In conclusion, in summary, I just want to say that I hope you feel that your electric cooperative is committed to serving you. In the electric cooperative model, you are the owners and we are the servants. We are here to serve you. If there's ever a moment where you don't feel that way, please let us know, because we absolutely want to work with you on whatever the topic might be. At this time, be glad to take any questions that you may have. We always hang around afterwards as well. Yes, sir.
Robert Chambers, Wilkin County, Connolly Township.
Yeah.
A number of years ago, after a bad storm, Lake Region buried a number of their east-west lines, and I was told at the time by other people from other electrical operations that there were all kinds of operational problems related to these lines. As a owner member customer, I have not appreciated any problems from these buried lines. In fact, that they've been a great success. From an operational standpoint, from your standpoint, were there any surprises? Are there any operational problems with these buried lines? I mean, you talked a lot about the overhead lines.
Yep.
You didn't talk at all about the buried lines.
Yeah. Buried lines, I think generally people prefer that. In the early days of the underground cable, there was issues with it, but the newer, more modern, in recent years with the underground cable, I don't know if we've had any really big issues or problems with the newer type of cable, the insulation and the size of the jacket and things. It's been very successful for it. Al, Paul, Brian, Lon, any issues that with the underground?
I guess I'd just chime in. The underground cable, again, if weather comes, it's usually not an issue. If you do have a fault, it does take longer to repair that issue. The older cable we did have a lot of issues with. It wasn't Lake Region, everybody did when underground cables first started getting put in. We've retired a lot of that out of the system. There's still a little that has lived on, and we watch that and replace it when need be. But the newer stuff has been very solid performance-wise. 95% of our new services are probably put in underground. Vast majority of the work is underground these days. But good point. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Oh, yes.
Okay, I just have a member issue, I guess. I am a widow, and when my husband died, we were there for 45 years, and so everything was just in his name. And I was given these options of signing these papers and getting $1,181 in capital credits from Lake Region, but at the same time, I had to give up $740 that was supposed to come from Great River. And so I guess I'm speaking for widow or widowers. If there is some way we can look at the bylaws to help them get their capital credits that they are owed, I have had wonderful conversations with Mike Brazel and Chad Festel and Amanda Fuller this morning, and they informed me gave me good information of how Great River is a co-op,
Yes.
but they may not give you our capital credits. And so that's a big issue. But we do have a board member that is on their board. And I just feel that there should be a look at a way of giving those widows or widowers. I was on the same land with my husband for 45 years. It just happened that in '83, they only put his name on the account. And so there should be, I have been thinking of several different options that if I gave my marriage certificate to show that I am his heir and I was part of this, they could just transfer those credits over to me. Otherwise, I have to keep an account open for 30 years to get the credits. Now, that's ridiculous to me. I think that as members, we have husbands and wives that are heirs that have been paying the bills and doing things for years. So I will be sending a letter to everybody with these ideas, and I hope they will just talk to Great River and see if there is some way to continue to support members who have been paying for many years and earning these things.
Yeah, well, thank you for your comments. Ted, did you want to add anything?
Appreciate your comments, certainly, and it's something that we can look at to see if there is something that we can do better. Obviously, the concern that the co-op has is, so part of what she's talking about are the GRE capital credits or the Great River Energy capital credits. Until about 4 years ago, Great River Energy hadn't paid any capital credits to Lake Region or any of its other members. And so the concern that the board has to look at is whether those capital credits will continue to come from Great River Energy. We don't want to pay out capital credits to members that we may never get, because that's just money out of your pocket eventually that we're not recouping. So we're certainly willing to take a look to see if there is a solution here, if there's something we can do differently. Unfortunately, there's not a perfect solution that's going to make every situation work, but we'll certainly take a look at it and see if there is something that we can do.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, Pat.
Old-fashioned thing, and most of us became members, that everything was in the husband's name. It'd be nice if it could be husband and wife's name on the bill, so that automatically both are included.
Okay, good.
So I may be speaking out of turn here, but I think if you want that, I think you could talk to Lake Region and get both names on there, so then it would become a joint membership. So I think that would be a pretty easy process to be able to do, because I know that's how it was set up a number of years ago on that. And so I think if you just talk to maybe the administration, that would be something that we could do, is just have that joint membership. So the issue with that then is not issue, but what would happen is if your spouse died, the capital credits wouldn't be retired early because they would just continue to be on your account. And so you would just continue to get paid those capital credits as part of the general retirement. And when we talk about a general retirement, what that is those are the capital credits that we are retiring from 15 years ago that were set aside on your account. The special retirement is when someone passes away is when we do that. And we don't do that at a discount like a lot of different co-ops do. We do pay those out at the full amount.
Any other questions, comments? Anything else? Thank you. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Tim. And I know that you can put it in a joint account because several years ago, I switched my wife and I on that. But like they said, like at the passing of the first spouse, you don't get anything yet. And so you have to kind of weigh that. And it's very difficult. We really stressed about how to handle that. And we'll continue to stress that, I guess. So anyway, thank you for your nomination again. People wonder why you want to be a director. And in 3 years, hopefully if I make 3 years again, that you'll be looking for a director for this district. So keep that in mind for 3 years from now. But my own personal goal on here is that, it doesn't really matter what size of business you have, what size of co-op you have. I think Lake Region is about average in the state. But I like to think that, and our goal is to be best in class. So that's my push to keep everything the best we can do at our size. So I want to thank you all for joining us today, and your engagement is greatly appreciated, and we enjoy the questions too. Before we adjourn today's meeting, I want to remind you that our annual meeting is on April 18th at 6:30 at Life Church, and we will again be offering in-person meetings at Frazee Center and Prairie Event Center in Parkers Prairie. We will also be live streaming the annual meeting for those of you who cannot attend for one reason or another at all 3 locations. I hope you all can make it in person, but if not, please live stream in the event to stay engaged with your cooperative. Thank you for attending.